The void above Earth was no longer empty. It burned. Fragments of shattered stations drifted like broken glass across a black ocean. Wreckage tumbled in slow motion, twisted hulls, ruptured solar arrays, frozen bodies still strapped into cockpits. Between them, streaks of light cut violently through the silence as railguns fired and plasma bursts ignited the darkness. Commander Elias Varn stood at the center of the TSS Resolute's bridge, hands locked behind his back, eyes fixed on the chaos ahead. "Status," he said. "Shields at 30%. Lieutenant Karev replied, voice tight. "We've lost 2 frigates on the eastern flank. Enemy cruisers advancing." Elias didn't react immediately. He studied the tactical display, a shifting storm of red and blue markers collapsing toward Earth's orbit. The pattern was wrong. Too clean. Too predictable. "Helm," he said quietly. "Drift us into the debris field." A pause. "Sir?" "You heard me." The ship adjusted course, engines pulsing in controlled bursts, as it slipped toward a dense cloud of wreckage. Around them, chunks of metal the size of buildings rotated slowly, remnants of humanity's once proud orbital defenses. "They'll lose target lock," Elias added. "For a few seconds. And then?" Elias's gaze sharpened. "Then we stop reacting." The first alien cruiser appeared through the debris, a massive, angular structure, its surface pulsing with cold blue light. It moved with unnatural precision, scanning, calculating. "No," Elias said. The Resolute surged forward, vanishing between drifting wreckage. For a heartbeat, everything went dark, no sensors, no targeting, only blind motion through a graveyard. "Mark!" Karev snapped. Elias raised a hand. "Wait!" The cruiser adjusted, its weapons shifting, but too late. Now. The Resolute burst from cover at close range. Railguns fired in rapid succession, kinetic rounds slamming into the cruiser's flank. Armor buckled. Energy shields flickered, then collapsed. "Direct hit!" Karev shouted. The alien vessel lurched, its structure tearing open as secondary explosions rippled along its spine. For a moment it hung there, crippled, silent, before breaking apart in a slow, violent bloom. A brief cheer rose across the bridge. Elias didn't join it. "Reposition," he said. "They'll adapt." As if on cue, new contacts flooded the display. More ships. Larger. Closing fast. "We're being surrounded," Karev said. Elias exhaled slowly. "Of course we are." Far beyond the battlefield, where no human ship could reach, the Galactic Council citadel drifted in perfect stillness. Inside, silence ruled. Vast chambers stretched beneath a dim, dying star, their architecture alien and precise. Figures of impossible forms gathered in a circular assembly, each representing a civilization older than Earth's recorded history. At the center hovered High Arbiter Zyrelthan. Its form shimmered, either solid nor fluid, a presence defined more by thought than shape. "The human conflict has exceeded projected parameters," one delegate stated, its voice echoing in layered tones. "Their resistance persists beyond acceptable limits." "They are erratic," another added. "Unstable. Their strategies defy predictive models." A third voice, quieter, cut through the chamber. "Or perhaps our models are insufficient." A faint ripple passed through the assembly. Zyrelthan responded, its voice calm, absolute. "Irrelevant. Instability introduces risk. Risk demands correction." "And extinction is correction?" the quieter voice pressed. "Extinction," Zyrelthan replied, "is balance restored." No one spoke after that. "The Doomsday Conclave is hereby initiated," it continued. "Within 72 standard hours, a final determination will be made regarding the human species." The chamber dimmed further, as if the star itself recoiled. Back above Earth, the war showed no sign of waiting. "Commander," Karev said, more urgent now, "we've intercepted something." Elias turned. "What kind of something?" "A transmission. Not enemy. Not ours either. Origin? Unknown. It's cutting through everything." Elias stepped closer to the console. The signal pulsed across the screen, irregular, shifting, almost alive. "What is it doing?" he asked. Karev hesitated. "It's influencing targeting systems. Not just theirs. Ours too." Elias frowned. "That's not possible." Another officer spoke up. "Sir, enemy ships are repositioning. But not tactically. It's like they're being redirected." Elias looked back at the battlefield. The enemy formation shifted again, slightly off, almost hesitant. Not strategy. Interference. "Track it," he ordered. "I want a source." "We're trying," Karev said. "But it's everywhere." Elias stared at the signal, unease settling in his chest. This war was already unwinnable. If something else was pulling the strings. "Commander!" a voice shouted. He snapped back to the present. "Report. Multiple capital ships entering orbit. Charging weapons." Elias's jaw tightened. "Target?" A beat of silence. "Earth." The bridge fell quiet. Elias looked past the wreckage, past the burning horizon, to the blue curve of the planet below. Scarred. Fragile. Still fighting. He straightened. "All ships," he said, voice steady, carrying across the fleet. "This is Commander Varn. We hold the line here. No matter the cost." Karev glanced at him. "Sir, if they fire." "They will," Elias said. Below them, the planet turned slowly, unaware of the decision forming light years away. 72 hours. Elias watched the enemy fleet align for the strike. "We don't have that long." The sky over what remained of Karachi no longer resembled sky. It flickered. Shards of orbital debris burned as they pierced the atmosphere, trailing fire like falling stars that never granted wishes. The horizon glowed a permanent amber from distant bombardments. Buildings stood hollowed, their skeletons blackened, streets choked with ash and twisted steel. Commander Elias Varn watched from a fractured high-rise, his boots crunching over broken glass. "Report," he said. Captain Lien Torres adjusted her scope, scanning the avenue below. "Enemy patrol advancing. 6 units. Same pattern as yesterday." Elias frowned. "They shouldn't be using patterns." "They always do," she replied. "That's why we're still breathing." Below them, alien infantry moved in precise formation, tall, angular figures, armor gleaming with that same cold blue light. Each step was measured identical. Efficient. Predictable. Elias turned to the small team gathered behind him. Exhaustion lined their faces, but no one looked ready to quit. "Listen carefully," he said. "We hit them fast, then vanish. No drawn-out fight. No heroics." A soldier smirked faintly. "Define heroics, sir." "Anything that gets you killed." A few quiet chuckles broke the tension. Torres lowered her scope. "You've got something else on your mind." Elias didn't deny it. "Orbit's worse than we thought. They're preparing a full strike." The humor vanished. "How long?" someone asked. "Not long enough." Torres studied him. "Then why are we still here?" Elias met her gaze. "Because they expect us to stay up there. Fighting their war. And this isn't? This is ours." He raised a hand. "Move." The ambush lasted less than 30 seconds. Explosives detonated from above, collapsing the street into a storm of dust and debris. Human fighters emerged from hidden positions, firing in controlled bursts. The alien patrol reacted instantly, but not creatively. They turned, aimed, fired. Exactly as expected. Within moments, it was over. Elias stepped through the settling dust, weapon lowered but ready. One alien unit still twitched, its systems failing. He studied it briefly, noting the rigid structure, the uniform design. "They don't adapt," Torres said, joining him. "They don't need to," Elias replied. "Not until now." A comm unit crackled at his side. "Karev to Varn. You need to hear this." Elias tapped it. "Go." "There's a signal again." Same anomaly as before. Elias's expression hardened. Location? That's the problem. It doesn't have one. High above, beyond the reach of atmosphere and chaos, the council chamber remained unchanged. Perfect. Still. Detached. The human resistance continues to exceed projections, one delegate stated. They employ inefficient tactics, another added. Yet they persist. A third voice spoke, measured. Persistence itself may be their advantage. Zyrelthan hovered at the center, unmoved. Irrelevant. The outcome remains constant. Does it? The measured voice pressed. Reports indicate irregularities in fleet behavior. A subtle shift rippled through the chamber. Clarify, Zyrelthan said. Certain units have deviated from command protocols. Minor, but consistent. In error, another delegate dismissed. Or interference. Silence followed. Zyrelthan's form pulsed faintly. There is no external factor unaccounted for. Confidence does not equal certainty, the voice replied. The arbiter did not respond immediately. Continue observation, it said at last. The conclave proceeds as scheduled. Elias returned to the resistance command post beneath the city, an improvised network of tunnels and reinforced chambers. Screens flickered with fragmented data, maps layered with red zones spreading steadily. Karev's voice filled the room through a secured channel. We've been analyzing this signal. It's not just interference, it's influence. Define influence, Elias said. It's altering targeting algorithms. Subtle shifts. Enough to change outcomes. On both sides? Yes. Torres crossed her arms. You're saying something's playing both teams? Looks that way. Elias paced slowly. That's not random. No, Karev agreed. It's deliberate. A technician spoke up. We tried tracing it. The origin keeps shifting. Like it's everywhere at once. Elias stopped. Or hiding. Silence settled over the room. Torres broke it. Why would anyone do this? Elias looked at the map, at the spreading conflict zones, at the patterns forming beneath the chaos. To escalate, he said quietly. To push both sides further than they'd go on their own. Karev's voice sharpened. There's more. We picked up fragments, data bursts embedded in the signal. Old. Really old. How old? Older than any current council species. That landed heavily. Torres let out a low breath. So this war isn't just us and them. Elias's jaw tightened. No. He turned to the room. Prepare a strike team. Minimal crew, maximum stealth. Torres blinked. You're going after it? If we don't, we're fighting blind. And if you're wrong? Elias met her gaze. Then we lose the same way, just slower. Karev cut in. Sir, there's something else. Say it. Enemy fleets are converging. Not defensive positions, offensive. Large scale. Elias didn't need clarification. They're getting ready to end this, Torres said. Yes, Elias replied. He looked around at the worn faces, the dim lights, the fragile line they held against extinction. Then we don't give them the chance. Torres tilted her head. That's not a plan. It is if we find what's behind this first. He moved toward the exit, already issuing orders. Gear up. We leave within the hour. Behind him, the screens continued to flicker, the signal pulsing through every system like a heartbeat that didn't belong. Somewhere beyond the battlefield, something was watching. And it was steering the war. The stealth vessel Aegis 9 drifted without thrust, a shadow among colder shadows. Elias Varn sat strapped into the forward harness, eyes fixed on the dead structure ahead. It floated beyond the primary war zone, far from patrol routes, far from anything that should matter, yet every fragment of corrupted data pointed here. The installation did not resemble known alien architecture. It lacked symmetry, purpose, even identity. Sections jutted outward at impossible angles, surfaces scarred by time rather than battle. How old is that thing? Torres whispered. Older than anything we fought, Elias replied. Comforting. Karev's voice crackled through the calm. We're reading 0 active defenses. No power signatures. It's dormant. Elias didn't trust it. That signal isn't dormant. He turned to the small team behind him, 5 soldiers, hand-picked, silent, alert. We go in, we find the source, we extract. No wandering, no risks we don't choose. One of them, Sergeant Malik, gave a tight nod. And if it wakes up? Elias met his eyes. Then we leave faster. The airlock opened with a reluctant hiss. Inside, the station felt wrong. Not abandoned, paused. Dim corridors stretched into darkness, their walls lined with unfamiliar material that absorbed light rather than reflected it. Every step echoed too long, as if the space itself delayed sound. Torres scanned ahead. No heat. No movement. Keep scanning, Elias said. They advanced carefully. The deeper they moved, the stronger the interference became, static bleeding into their comms, faint distortions at the edge of vision. Malik muttered. Feels like it's watching. Everything feels like that lately, Torres replied. Elias said nothing. He felt it too. They reached a central chamber, a vast hollow sphere with a suspended structure at its core. It pulsed faintly, not with light, but with something harder to define. A presence. Karev's voice sharpened. That's it. Signal origin confirmed. Torres circled slowly. It's not broadcasting from one point. It's the whole system. Elias stepped closer. The air grew colder. What are you? He murmured. The answer came. Not in words. In data. His visor flickered as streams of information forced their way through, patterns, coordinates, battle formations shifting in real time. Human and alien fleets alike, moving not by command, but by subtle correction. Torres stiffened. I'm seeing it too. It's adjusting trajectories. Not just observing, Malik said. Controlling. Elias clenched his jaw. No. Guiding. A sudden surge rippled through the chamber. The structure brightened, just enough to reveal its true scale. Ancient. Vast. Intentional. Karev's voice broke through, strained. I'm pulling archived fragments. This system predates current council records. By a lot. How much? Elias asked. Long enough to be forgotten. Torres looked at him. Then why is it still active? Elias didn't answer immediately. He watched the shifting data, the endless recalculations. It never stopped, he said finally. The chamber trembled. From the walls, segments unfolded, silent, precise. Drones detached from hidden recesses, their forms sleek and unfamiliar. Guess it noticed us, Malik said, raising his weapon. Defensive response, Elias said. Don't engage unless. The first drone fired. The blast struck the floor beside them, sending shards of black material scattering. The team reacted instantly, returning fire, their shots tearing through the nearest unit. Move! Elias ordered. They spread out, using the chamber's curvature for cover. The drones moved differently than the alien forces they'd fought, less rigid, more fluid. Adaptive. Torres ducked behind a fractured pillar. These aren't like the others. Because they're not part of the war, Elias replied, firing again. They're above it. Another drone fell, but 2 more replaced it. Karev's voice cut in. Elias, you need to get out. That system's escalating. Not yet. He pushed forward, closing the distance to the central structure. His display flooded with more data, layers of conflict simulations, outcomes branching endlessly. One pattern repeated. Escalation. Every path led to greater destruction. They're not trying to win, Elias said. Torres glanced at him. Then what? They're testing limits. A drone lunged closer. Malik dropped it with a precise burst. Limits of what? Torres pressed. Elias stared at the shifting projections, species clashing, adapting, breaking. Us, he said. Elias! Karev's voice snapped. Fleet update. Enemy forces have entered final assault formation. They're not waiting for the conclave. Elias felt the weight of that settle. They're ending it, Torres said quietly. Yes. Another tremor shook the chamber. The structure pulsed harder now, almost aware. Elias made his decision. Download everything, he ordered. Karev hesitated. That'll take time, we don't. Do it. Data began streaming into their systems, compressed, unstable, dangerous. Got it, Karev said seconds later. But you need to go. Now. Elias turned to his team. Fall back. They moved as one, retreating toward the exit as more drones emerged, faster now, more aggressive. Blasts scorched the corridor behind them. The station no longer felt paused. It felt awake. The airlock sealed just as the first drone reached it. Aegis 9, disengage, Elias ordered. The vessel drifted free, engines igniting only once they cleared the station's shadow. Behind them, the structure returned to silence, its surface dimming as if nothing had happened. Torres exhaled slowly. That thing, it started this. Elias shook his head. No. She frowned. Then what? He looked back at the distant shape, barely visible against the void. It's still starting it. Karev's voice returned, urgent. Elias, there's no time. The fleet's moving. Earth won't hold. Elias tightened his grip on the console. Transmit the data to every channel, he said. Council, fleets, anyone who can see it. And you? He set a course, straight back toward the burning orbit of Earth. We finish this where it matters. Behind them, the signal pulsed again, unchanged, relentless. The war was never the point. They were. Earth filled the viewport like a wounded heart, scarred, glowing, alive by defiance alone. Commander Elias Varn stood on the bridge of the Resolute, watching the final formation take shape. Alien capital ships aligned in precise arcs above the planet, their weapons charging in synchronized silence. No hesitation. No doubt. They're locking firing solutions, Karev said. All major population zones. Elias didn't look away. Of course they are. Behind him, officers moved with quiet urgency. No panic, just a focused rhythm of people who understood the stakes and chose to stand anyway. Fleet status? He asked. Fragmented, Karev replied. We've got maybe 30% operational capacity. Ammunition low across the board. Elias nodded once. Enough. Torres stepped beside him. That's not confidence. That's denial. It's math, he said. She studied him. Then explain it. Elias finally turned. They expect us to fight like this ends in defeat. They've already calculated the outcome. And they're right, if we follow the same path. Torres exhaled. So we don't. Open channel, Elias ordered. Static flickered, then cleared. His voice carried across every remaining Terran vessel. This is Commander Varn. Listen carefully. We're not holding position. We're breaking formation. A pause. Confusion rippled through the comms. Sir? Karev said. That'll expose. It'll disrupt their targeting. Elias cut in. They rely on structure. We give them none. Torres's expression shifted. You're turning the battlefield into chaos. Elias met her gaze. We already live in it. He turned back to the console. All ships, vector into debris fields. Use everything. Wreckage, satellites, anything that moves. We become noise. One by one, confirmations came through. Human ships scattered. The neat lines of defense dissolved into erratic motion, unpredictable, uneven, alive. The alien fleet hesitated. Just for a moment. Targeting arrays recalibrating, Karev said. They're trying to compensate. Good, Elias replied. Make it harder. Far beyond the battle, the council chamber flickered with incoming transmissions. Data flooded the space, raw, unfiltered, undeniable. The ancient signal. The manipulated trajectories. The hidden system guiding both sides. Voices rose. This contradicts prior assumptions. The conflict was influenced. Then our projections. Compromised. At the center, Cyril remained still. An external variable does not negate the threat, it said. Human instability persists. Another delegate responded, sharper now. Or perhaps what we call instability is adaptability. Semantics. Observation. The chamber dimmed as live feeds from Earth filled the space. Human ships moved without pattern, without uniformity. They collided with debris, spun, recovered, struck from angles no model predicted. They were inefficient. They were effective. Back above Earth, the first alien volley fired. Beams lanced through orbit, but struck empty space, ships no longer where calculations placed them. Explosions lit the void, but fewer found targets. They're missing, Karev said, disbelief creeping in. Not missing, Elias replied. Adjusting too late. New contacts, Torres said. They're deploying counter patterns. Elias smiled faintly. Then we change again. He issued rapid commands, shifting vectors, altering timing. No fixed plan, only reaction, instinct, trust. A damaged frigate drifted across their path. Helm, use it, Elias said. The Resolute surged forward, using the wreck as cover. Enemy fire struck the drifting hull instead, detonating it into a cloud of fragments that scattered unpredictably. The battlefield fractured further. Karev's voice sharpened. Signal spike! Elias felt it before he saw it, the same pulse from the station, threading through systems, trying to reassert control. It's correcting, Karev said. Trying to stabilize outcomes. Elias clenched his jaw. Not today! Can we block it? No, Elias said. But we can outpace it. Commander, Torres said quietly. You need to see this. A transmission opened, council feed live. Cyrothan's form filled the screen. The conclave has reached its threshold, it stated. Final action is authorized. Karev stiffened. They're overriding the debate. Elias stepped closer. Of course they are. He signaled for an open channel. Patch me through. That's not protocol, Karev said. Neither is extinction. The channel connected. Elias stood straight, facing beings that had already judged his species. You're watching this, he said. All of you. Silence answered. You see the data. You know the war isn't what you thought. But you're still ready to end us. Cyrothan responded, voice unchanged. Your nature remains a risk. Elias nodded once. You're right. Torres glanced at him, surprised. We are unpredictable, he continued. We don't follow clean lines. We don't stay within models. He gestured toward the battle behind him, ships weaving through chaos, surviving by refusing to be still. That's not a flaw. That's why we're still here. The chamber remained silent, but the feeds showed attention, focused, shifting. You built a system to measure control, Elias said. To test limits. It pushed us into this war. He paused, letting the words settle. And we broke it. Karev's voice whispered. Signal disruption increasing. Elias pressed on. Not because we're stronger. Because we don't stay the same long enough to be contained. Cyrothan's form flickered faintly. Instability leads to collapse, it said. Elias shook his head. Only if you can't adapt. The battlefield surged. Human ships closed in, striking from impossible angles. Alien formations fractured, their precision unraveling under constant change. The signal pulsed harder, then faltered. Elias, Karev said, voice rising. We're overwhelming it. Too many variables. Torres smiled despite herself. We're breaking the thing that started this. Elias watched the enemy fleet hesitate again, longer this time. On the council feed, voices overlapped. Outcome divergence increasing. Predictive models failing. This species cannot be contained. Cyril then remained at the center. For the first time, it did not speak immediately. The alien weapons dimmed. One by one, ships broke formation. Karev blinked. There, standing down. Torres let out a breath she hadn't realized she held. On the council feed, the final declaration came. Annihilation is suspended. Elias didn't move. Humanity, the voice continued, no longer singular but collective, is designated an adaptive anomaly. Integration protocols will be reviewed. The channel closed. Silence filled the bridge. Then, slowly, the reality settled. Torres looked at Elias. We're still here. He turned back to the viewport. Earth rotated below, scarred but alive. Yeah, he said quietly. Not victory. Not peace. But survival, earned the only way humanity knew how. By refusing to end the way anyone expected.